yashabalala. Ngase ngishayela ukuthi mina ngeke ngithande, kanti lamacala ngaka awasaqolelwa ngani. Ngase ngishayela ukuthi mina ngeke ngithande, kanti lamacala ngaka awasaqolelwa ngani.
Hayi bathi khuluma nabo mfana batshethe khamba kanjani nangu Lungani Gwala aka umfana kaShokolate is in the building baby. Boo, 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 boo. Suka man, it's another day, it's another Sunday. Sazoshiba kakhulu, welcome to the Global Sunday. Yeah, I know. Don't say it. I can see you pointing a finger at me and saying, hey, we had a hectic week and you come in here and making noise. Yeah, that's who I am, baby. I'm gonna make noise in your ear. So you're gonna wake up because it's the Global Sunday now. I know it's been crazy, it's been hectic, everybody's busy. COVID-19 is here. A lot of bad news going on in different families. You know what? Just stay strong. Keep walking, keep going. You are going to make it to your destination, because it's pointless to give up anyway. If you give up, then what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen? That's it. You're gonna give up, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna throw the towel. No, you gotta keep moving, baby. So yeah, welcome guys. I'm so excited. We are celebrating our first annual We Global Sunday show. It is so amazing. It has been an amazing journey. Yeah, and I also have some videos that I'll be sharing with you guys together with the team. Yeah, some of the videos are kind of like funny when you look at how the show started. It's been a journey that was not easy at all. But if you have a goal, and if you see where you're going, you're definitely going to reach that point at some that destination at some point. So if you're just walking a path that you don't even know where it's leading you, then it becomes very hard for you. Even when you face some difficulties, as long as you know where you're going, I promise you will stay strong. So yeah, really try to find out where your destination is. Don't just walk in the dark and expect that you will find the lights at some point. Sometimes when you're lost, maybe you can try. I don't know. We all have different lives, we go through different things, but it's always nice to talk about something from an experience rather than to talk about something that you heard or you learned about or you read about. So yeah, I'm talking from experience. And it's really funny that one of the videos that I have, it does say that, I can see this is still the beginning, but I know where this is going. I am hoping that it's going to grow one day, and I have a vision. I mean, it is so amazing. And I would like to thank everybody that has been supporting me. There's a lot of you guys, and I wish I could just make a list. We are going to be issuing certificates to the viewers that has been there from day one, when the show was really, 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 really down there on the first step, and they were there, they were faithful with us. They never left us, even when we had technical issues, technical errors, and even when we forgot to say hello to them, they stayed with us, supporting us and sending us messages and calling in. It has been an amazing journey. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much because maybe there might be some questions that will come from my colleagues. So I don't want to, I know I have a lot of energy, but I don't want to take too much of the energy and then only to find out that I have like 150% that I need to give out when my colleagues are asking me questions. But yeah, let me just introduce my team. All the way from Australia, David Pyke. All the way from South Africa, Miss Classic. I'll never give up. All the way from the US, Arizona, Mr. Ken Ludden. All the way from Germany, it's Pipo Tafel. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome, my team. Welcome, everybody. How's it going?
It's incredible that we've done a whole year. How are you feeling, Lungani? Tired?
Okay. I'm part of this. Okay, let me include myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely tired. It's June. It's my birth month. And I feel very, very blessed that also it is the first annual of the Global Sunday. So, you'll never understand how God works, So it's really amazing. It's quite a stressy month for me, because having to think about I know I'm old enough to not think about the birthday now, but there's always people who are asking, they know me from back then when I was a famous dancer back in Africa, but now, I'm just a chilled student. So they're like, "Hey, so what's happening for your birthday? What's going on? What's going on?" So there's that, and also, with the first annual of the Global Sunday. Yeah, it's just a lot to think about, but it's great. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Some people they give up and before they even reach this point. So I'm really excited. And looking back, yesterday, I'm sorry, you asked the wrong question, Mr. Ludden. They call me they call me a loudspeaker. So you've triggered some stuff. So, but anyways, just in short, I have been looking at the videos from day one, and I was so emotional, I was so emotional looking at where the show started and where it is right now. And testimonies from different people. Like, I get testimonies every day. And if you have given me a testimony and I haven't responded to you, I'm really sorry. I get testimonies every day that, I had no platform and your platform gave me, it's a lot of things. But yeah, thank you to all for your support and believing in me. So yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Ludden. Please take
Well,
over.
I'm not surprised, of course, at all. When you were a teenage boy, you always had global aspirations. You were unstoppable. You really, since you were very little, you've had this kind of ambition, and it's never been selfish. Your ambition has always been for everybody. And, as a parent, that makes me very, very proud. And as a colleague here, it actually gives me direction a lot of the time. What I thought would be really interesting is if each member of the panel would share, like, when you first heard the phrase "the Global Sunday," and then how you became involved in this show. And I'd like to send that to Miss Classic first, because Miss Classic was the first co-anchor with Lungani as this show developed, starting a year ago. So, Ms. Classic, when did you first hear that phrase, the Global Sunday, and how were you approached to be part of it?
First of all, I want to greet you all at the Global Sundays, all the viewers of the TGS. Welcome back to our lovely Sunday. In South Africa, it's the evening. I know that side is in the morning. So globally, I greet you all and happy Youth Month. I know on June 16 here, we're celebrating June 16, and we're also celebrating the happy anniversary of our TGS, celebrating the meeting or the annual meeting of us with the Global Sundays. And also happy birthday in advance to the Chocolate Kid. And I want to wish him all the best in the future, and we appreciate him a lot. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. All the support that you gave me, it meant a lot to me. I wouldn't have been where I am if you were not one of my root people to push me harder for better. So I want to thank you for that, and I'm grateful to your parents for just giving us a seed like you, who's always concerned about our growth and appreciating us and our work. Okay, how I first met Lungani Gwala. It's been a great journey. It's been a great journey. I met the Global Sundays, particularly Lungani Gwala, with the Global Sunday show, when he was doing an interview, 2020, doing an interview with Mrs. Sambo, the first interview they had. Because Mamdo used to be my spiritual parent during the lockdown. So I met her in Johannesburg when I went there with Kanyo. So when she had a first interview with Lungani Gwala, then I met them. I liked the interview. It was so interesting. And then I asked if I can be one of the guests. And then Lungani requested me to go to WhatsApp and inbox him my profile and pictures and the proposal to be one of the, that's how it started. And then the next thing, I was having a show, and and this was a very emotional and interesting show of mine when I was a guest. And I think that's when I was crowned a queen of the Global Sundays due to the interview that I had. For Pipo and David, because they were not around at that time, I shared the story of my past where I was raped by 8 guys in Durban, and I survived that. And I learned that for me to go through that, it was just a journey and education to inspire the young women that are still going to encounter the same experience. And so it was just an educational curve. So yes, I was emotionally abused and sexually abused, but I survived that. So yeah, that is how I met the Global Sundays. They healed me. Ken and Lungani Gwala, they were my strength from that day until today. Now that I even forgot what happened, I've healed through motivating others every day. I get more stronger and stronger to be brave and to look forward to life. So I'll leave it at that and take it back to the studio because it was just the meeting of us with the Global Sunday. I'll give you more when I come back.
Okay, so let's go to Pipo. You were next on board after Miss Classic. I'm going to jump over myself here for the moment. So Pipo, when did you first hear of the Global Sunday, and how was it that you were approached to be part of this panel?
Well, hello, everybody out there also, and thanks for joining us today on the Global Sunday, and happy anniversary to our lovely producer, Lungani Gwala. And it was Ken Ludden who approached me to be part of the show, but I heard about the show almost a year ago. And at that time, that was the beginning of the pandemic. And there were so-called quarantine training classes happening, which was a professional ballet class with the Margot Fonteyn Academy of Ballet. And one of the participants was also a very young, very good-looking dancer from South Africa. And it turned out that he was also doing the Global Sunday. So at that time I was working, I had the last job that started just before the pandemic. And when it hit, I was working on an editing for a museum. And you pointed out that he was also doing a show, this great dancer who was also taking those classes. And I found out like that he was doing so many things. And one of those things was the Global Sunday, actually. And I was very surprised and to find out a whole universe there. And when you asked me about 6 weeks ago, when you were traveling to be part of the Global Sunday and to be co-hosting, I was very flattered. So that's how I came in. And I'm still here, and I'm happy and looking forward to the journey. And every time is exciting and a new thing. And it's really, really special to me to be here.
That's great. We love having you here. And so, David, how about you? How did you first hear about it? And then, how is it that you were approached and became part of this panel?
I used to get a few Facebook messages that said Global Sunday on it, and it had all these pictures of good-looking people on the front cover, and I thought, wow, is that a TV show? What is it? And I didn't take much notice of it actually because it was coming on my Monday, and usually on Monday at this time of the morning I'm either asleep or heading off to work pretty soon. So once I realised that the Global Sunday and the Global Monday are the same event, and then I got to meet the Lungani. He was in the room that I occupied in Arizona when I met Ken Ludden about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I thought, gee, that's a bit rude. He didn't ask my permission. But I got to meet Lungani, and I thought, this guy's obviously talented, because Ken usually associates with talented and intelligent people. So I knew that there was a lot to Lungani that I didn't know. And then I found out he was hosting the show. And the first thing that struck me was, wow, an international recognized ballet star with that kind of hair. Does that affect his aerodynamics when he's doing turns and spins? And so it's 4 o'clock in the morning here, and my psychotherapist says, keep doing the show. You've been invited to do it because it's a great therapy for you. And hopefully the viewers out there are getting some wonderful information. But probably on a more serious note, I'm part of a very famous culture here of colonial sport. We've got a beautiful Indigenous culture as well, a very vast culture and a mix of people. But what I love about this show, I'm at the artistic side of it rather than the sporting side. We have plenty of shows that talk about sport on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, Sunday morning. But this show focuses on artists, poets, book writers, ballet dancers, orchestral people, jazz musicians, hip hop artists, with some news thrown in, some good humor, some good fraternity between like 4 different time zones: Germany, South Africa, America, and now Australia. So it's something that I wish Australia knows more about, and I'm happy to promote it my end as well. Is that we're talking about arts, we're talking about people who dedicate their lives without knowing, even if there's a success or if they're sponsored or anything, they dedicate their lives to improving the world and doing things of healing and showing a brotherhood, a sisterhood. And I know as a musician, everywhere I've traveled internationally, I don't know people from when I go to Prague or something. This was a few years back, or China. But if I pull out my instrument as an artist and I join in with the musicians, you're like almost family within minutes. And that's what's happened here on the Global Sunday. All the panelists are dedicated into the arts. And because we're artists, we have that common thread of what drives us. And Lungani, it's commendable that you've come up with this concept. I don't know the full history, but I believe it's born out of the lockdown and the pandemic and the new world order that we're currently experiencing. But the fact that artists can talk about art and have interviews with great people. The last couple of shows that I've been involved with, I've just been mesmerised of the talent pool that you're able to attract to the show. It's very, very interesting. I mean, these aren't people that I would ordinarily meet in Australia. So just to be on the Zoom with them, to even have the opportunity to ask them a question or just be part of what the panel's asking is just brilliant. So I think your concept is great for the 21st century. It's very refreshing, and I'm just privileged to be part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, having Lungani as a child, he's always doing something new and different. And I think that I probably said a few times too often, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, because he definitely learned that. But I'm a touring artist. He's a touring artist. In our lives, as a family, we haven't had a lot of opportunity to be in the same place. He came and COVID hit, and so I noticed that he was continuing to do his tour. He would set up in the living room, in the hallway, in the basement, in this room, in that room, in the kitchen, and and then of course when the pandemic hit and we had to keep teaching and offering the Academy's course, I don't remember how many cameras we had then, but I think it might have been 1. And so there was a bit of negotiation about the camera and the use. And what the first thing I noticed, he would be in the living room and he'd say, "Nobody talk, nobody talk," and I said, okay, and then immediately talked and said, "What are you doing?" And so he said, "I'm doing a show." And I said, okay. And then things would start to disappear. The dartboard, the globe, this and that. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I'd find a corner of the house where there was a set up. And, and he, said, it's the Global Sundays. And I'm like, okay, I went on about my business. And then my brother sent me the link. I'm not very good with technology. And my brother sent me the link and he said, "Have you seen what Lungani's doing?" And I said, "Well, I mean, I've seen that he's doing like he always does." And my brother sent me a link and I watched the show on the Facebook link that had happened right in our own living room. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I knew that when Lungani was on the set with all those different music videos that he was a featured dancer in, I knew that he was talking to people. What I didn't know is he was interviewing them about the artists, the leading artists, about the things they were interested outside of just their music. I remember there was one rap artist who was very into, I think, racing cars. And Lungani thought that was really interesting, etc. Well, apparently he had this entire library of these very well-known musical artists from South Africa talking about what they were doing in their actual day-to-day lives. And it was fascinating. And he started with that to do this show. And I've always been proud of him. And so it's sort of to say, and I was proud of him would be redundant because, he's a child you're very proud of. And then he asked me if I would read the news. And I said, yes, I can do that. I was the senior correspondent for 8 years on a network news program out of California. And I knew how to do it. So I said, sure, I'll read the news. And so we set that up, and then I was very inspired by Miss Classic, and not only what she was doing on the set, but also there was a terrible thing that had happened where somebody had gotten hold of some of her music and really, really violated her artistic body, and she was, of course, very upset by that. Anytime anybody intrudes into your life uninvited and takes something or does something or breaks something or hurts something, it's so difficult. And I had been reading the news that day. And so she and I had a talk, and I met this, not just this formidable woman, but I met this sensitive girl who cared so much about what she was doing. And I thought, okay, this is, I know that anybody Lungani chooses, I can trust because, she's a gem. And I don't mean to embarrass you with, but it's better to embarrass you with praise than embarrassing stories, I suppose. At any rate, and so then it evolved. I started giving a news summary. I was so frustrated, living in America with Donald Trump as president, and I just had to speak my mind. I'm Irish. I can't keep my mouth shut. And then it went from there. And so what I would like to do is I would like to sort of go around the panel. Before we do that, Lungani, son, why don't you tell us what that answer to that question? I was at an ATM and there was this kid there and he had a big face of Jack Nicholson sticking his head through the door in that scary movie. And I said to the kid, what were you thinking? So I'll send that question to you, Lungani. What were you thinking?
I don't know what to say, but just to answer your question, uh, I am a people's person. Um, that's what I know. Well, I'm not gonna. Sometimes we don't see ourselves. So when I describe myself, I describe myself according to what people say to me. Because unfortunately, there is a saying in Zulu that's "Iqaqa alizizwa ukunuka." Okay, I'm sorry about the clicks. But it actually means that because you cannot step out of yourself, you cannot see yourself when you're taking a wrong direction sometimes, or when you're taking a good direction or right direction. But people who are from the outside, mostly they can see you, they can see your mistakes, they can see the things that you are doing, the good things and the bad and everything. And then it relies on the approach, how they approach you to inform you if you are taking the wrong direction or the good direction. But anyways, so I consider myself as a people's person because you know I get along with people very easily. I can meet a person. For instance, I'm just gonna make a quick example. When I went to broadcast a show a few days ago at the porch, I met a guy, and this guy is a Kenyan guy, and he said, "Man, I think we've met somewhere, I think we've met somewhere. We click, we click. So it's so amazing. And I was like, I obviously didn't want to say, Bonnie, if you're watching, my brother, I didn't want to say I've heard that, quite a number of times. When I meet people for the first time, they be like, it's like we've lived together before, or we've known each other for some time. Anyways, I consider myself as a people's person, and I wanted to stay connected to the people all around the world. I used to travel, like how you explain that. I travel a lot, but due to COVID-19, obviously we cannot travel. But I met a lot of people all around the world, and the memories that you have with people, they stay with you. And as a person like me would want to keep that going. When I start something, I want to be consistent. I want to be faithful to whatever that I've started. I don't start something just because I can do it, or just because I'm expecting something back. I can do something that I cannot gain something from, but that will benefit the public. So I decided, what, to stay in contact with the people that I've met all around the world, the people that I talk to, and they are so nice, but they have a lot of things to share with the public, but they don't get that platform because they don't have an idea how they can do it. I mean, there was a lot of things happening in my mind, but one thing that I love about the things that were happening in my mind is that I wasn't just thinking about myself. I was thinking about those people who needs a voice. I was thinking about those people that I met before from different countries, but then now I don't have interaction with them. It's like, okay, we have our fun time, but then now, since I went back to South Africa, I went back to America, we don't talk anymore. We don't talk about ideas anymore. We don't encourage each other anymore. We don't, talk about a lot of things that are encouraging. So, and then I started the show, so I can be able to bridge that gap of lack of communication, and mostly that gap of having legendary people. I mean, I'm sitting with the legends right now as we talk. I mean, if I can give out Pipo's profile, David Pyke's profile, Mr. Ludden's profile, and Miss Classic's profile, every one of you who are watching right now will be so surprised. So young people and upcoming artists didn't have a chance to engage with legendary people and well-known people. They were looking at them from far, and I thought, you know what? I know how it feels. I was once a young person who looked at people like Fat Man Scoop, in which I was blessed. Thank you, Lord, for giving me that opportunity to talk to him, a person that I used to see only on television when I was young, and I would only dance to his music because I didn't have a CD player. I would only dance to his music when I go to the bar and ask people who are drunk to put music on the jukebox, or coin on the jukebox, so I can dance to his music because I liked his music. But I got an opportunity to talk to him, which was really amazing. So I know how it feels for people, especially Africans. They want to be heard, but there's no platform for them to express themselves. I know Global Sunday is still young and it's still growing. It's only 1 year. It's still growing. It's going to be bigger, and more people will get a platform to speak directly to their audiences and, to share their experiences. I mean, there's no, as an African, I know myself, there's nothing as important as being heard. Somebody that will listen to you and be like, oh, wow, I didn't know. Somebody last week said, when we were interviewing one of the artists said, we're interviewing Williams Bostic, and she said, oh my God, I thought artist has a lot of money, and especially since COVID-19, they thinking we're getting these. I don't know what was running in her mind, but her eyes were open. She was like, I didn't know it's so tough with the artists also. I thought it's people that wakes up in the morning and go to work for somebody, or at the gas station, or at Pick and Pay, or whatever, where it requires a bunch of people. So it's really amazing that we spread the message all around, across different nations. So yeah, there's a lot of things I can say. As you all know, they call me loudspeaker. But yeah, I'll just keep it there right now so I can give everybody a platform to talk. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Pyke. I can see you want to say something.
I'm just following on your thread. I think the artist works on very much the master apprentice situation. So a young artist having access to somebody who's gone through a few things, even though the generation and the situation has changed a lot, is very valuable. I learned my instrument on a master apprentice basis, and it was invaluable to have 10 years to have serious master classes with a very, very masterful musician. So I can see what you're saying, and I can promote that as well. As that there's so many young people that don't know anywhere to start. They have a passion inside them. I work at a school, I think Music Classic does as well, and there's young Indigenous children I'm working with in Australia, and they've got dreams and passions as well. But it's when you talk to them for a few seconds, they know what it is that they like and what drives them, but they don't even know where to begin. There's no a set plan for them or anything. So if I get the opportunity, I try to chat to them, and I'm not sure I always get through to them or they believe me. But that William Bostic from last week from New York, I actually played some of that in the school time. They have a thing called Circle Up in the morning, and they're very much into hip hop. They're Australian Indigenous children, but they relate. That's the kind of music that they plug into, stuff from particularly the United States and hip hop around the world. So instead of me trying to explain or translate from, they watched parts of the interview, and William made it very clear that the road of his life is a rocky one. It's not a big 10-lane highway from LAX or something. There's so many ups and downs, and what I liked about that was the raw truth of it. It's a bit cliche to say that the artist's life can be lonely or difficult, or especially it's a nostalgic thinking or a romantic thinking. We might see an interview, but even in the painters, I think Ken knows a lot more about this than I do, but only about 10% of some of the masters' great works has ever got to that stage of being considered a masterpiece. So imagine all the other works that are there. Some people have this notion that you sit down and the first 4 bars of music you write is coming from the genius. It's not like that. Nor maybe it is for the painter. I know the anecdotal story of Leonardo da Vinci apparently worked on the Mona Lisa's smile for about 10 years. I mean, that's beyond the scope of normal being. But they have a passion, and we all have this passion. But how do we bottle this passion? How do we direct it? How do we get a start? And access to having mentors or elder people or people who've been through the thing is a wonderful situation. And if the show gets interest from young people, if they're tuning into the show, young people in Africa in particular, but also around the world, and they watch someone like William Bostock or some of the other great artists that you've had on, and they're inspired, I think that leaves an imprint. One of the things that I'd like to see more in my country, and perhaps Pipo, you can comment on it. When I went to Europe a few years back, there's the kind of music that I write was in the squares, the town squares, and that in public places. And I guess young people, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, walking past down to the shopping get to experience that. And that's what I think I would love to see more, is that our orchestras, our chamber groups, our jazz groups, our hip hop artists are out there in the public domain a lot more, particularly for the very young. I'm talking 3-year-old, 4-year-olds, because subconsciously there's an imprint, I'm sure, that's left psychologically with them that later on can be fueled along. So I don't know what you think about Pipo, but I noticed in Europe, rich cultural heritage for thousands of years there, that the artists are out and about, and they're very inspiring for the young people to access.
Thank you, David, for pointing that out. To me, it seems that the pandemic made it clear how important culture is and the arts are, because especially in the performing arts, there was a reduction to more than 90% of the income of the artists. So compared to the other areas of professional life, it really hit the performing arts the strongest. And the creative sector is actually in Europe stronger, and it provides more jobs than like the automobile industry, more than the communication industry. So when I say creative sector, then we're also talking about people programming computer games, or we're also talking about design, all these different areas, and performing arts is a very important part of this sector. So amongst the 10 most important fields in this sector, there is performing arts. And that made it so important, and suddenly people got aware of, like, hold on, who are these guys and what's happening? And it is really difficult what's happening, because there are a lot of freelancers out there. There are a lot of people who work like it's a one-woman show or a one-man show. And these people, they have not enough income, because suddenly everything was stopped, and the state made it illegal to go and work, apart from those people who were like working for the state. However, there's a big part of the creative sector, people who are working not for the state, not working for a company. People who, you know, they go and do a job for one organization and then they do another. And suddenly it became clear, like, oh my God, these guys, what are they doing now? And it wasn't possible to do anything else but see how it develops. You know, people had to stay home, and a lot of people suddenly started to communicate that. And they said, hold on, that's not possible. Something has to happen here. Hold on, you know, what are you going to do if there's no music? Imagine one day you wake up and imagine there is no music anymore. Just take a second. Just imagine. I'm talking about all the fields of like audio. It could be the radio in your car. It could be taking a shower. It can be the jingle in the TV show. It's not only the concert. It's not only, you know, the theater thing. You say, I'm not a guy that goes to the theater, you know, it doesn't touch me. What about your phone? The ringtone. Someone composed the ringtone. What about the TV show that you're watching? Someone has composed the introduction. Someone has composed the soundscape. And imagine a single day without music. So now if you think of the children, do you know what the children do when they hear music? They dance.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So
Let's go together.
Sorry?
I mean, the music and dance goes together. They're twins. They are inseparable.
Yeah. So Miss Classic, if we stop the music because nobody's composing music anymore, then what are the children gonna do? You know, I mean, it has always been there, and we consider it like, yeah, it's normal, it's part of it. Yeah, but we got aware of it during the last year, and that's what you're pointing out, David. For me, how important it is from a very early age on. I have a colleague, and his wife listened to Mozart during her pregnancy a lot. And they found out when the boy was born, and his name was Max, that especially when they were listening to some kind of music, he got really into it. He even went to the piano, and he would, you know, start to press on the piano to make sounds. So they figured that he loved the most the music that his mother had listened during the pregnancy. And the human ear, when you have the embryo, is the first organ to be developed. So much earlier than listening, than seeing, you hear. And you hear, and it's fully developed, you know, at an early stage. So the babies are able to hear before they're able to see. And before they're able to get out of that belly, they hear the heartbeat of the mother. They hear the surrounding. They hear all kinds of things. They hear where the mother is. They hear what the mother says. So when I think of how important it is to consider at an early stage to, maybe it's not provide an education, but have an awareness of the impact of it, then I'm in, David. And I guess I'm very lucky because I'm surrounded by you guys here in this panel, and Lungani asked me to be part of it, that I started to realize how important the work actually is that is being done here. So the importance is, rather than getting a recognition or fame or you know, the paycheck, there's something far more important beyond that, and that is providing something for the generation that will come after myself. And when I was at a point when I felt down and hopeless, there was something that helped me. And I said, you know, I don't have a child yet, but if one day I have a child, it will be worth continuing because I will have something to hand on. And that kind of idea made me feel really good.
You know, Miss Classic, you are so involved, and you know, all of us on this panel have had a lifetime in our art forms. You have had so many iterations of yours. You have not only worked in, you know, in front of the microphone, but also you have worked in opera. You've also worked in administration. You've worked in organization. You've worked in all kinds of things. And it seems like you have always had something to do actively with education. Where does that come from? I know in your songs you're teaching, and you're not teaching people how to think, you're teaching people how to learn from what they feel. But where does your dedication to education come in, and how does this show participate in that?
This show is part of the inspiring ammunition to the world. So I think my calling is to educate and to inspire, and yeah, that's it. And to make sure that everyone who's listening to this show and who is listening to me in the classroom or off the mic in the radio is gaining a self-esteem and have hope, and to make sure that everyone that I stand in front of, they don't give up, because that's my motto. my motto is not to give up, because the world is made out of a lot of challenges. Otherwise, it was not going to have hills and humps on the roads. We were going to have a flat land if we were not supposed to have challenges. So I believe I was born to go through all the challenges and to have all these experiences out of and after the challenges that I had. If I was somebody else, I was going to give up and quit. But after what happened to me, I pushed further. You know, you have to make sure that you aim that the devil is shamed. You achieve more in life to shame the devil. So that's my motto. I don't give up, and I pray so much that everyone that passed through me, or my mouth, or my speech, my motivation, my lesson, I pray that all those people, they don't give up and they become brave, like how I look into their life. Yeah. So yeah, I'm an educator at Lungani, teaching life skills, which is my skill is to teach how to survive in life as I teach life skills. And then how the Global Sunday interacting or integrate with what I do is creative arts is it's a language, it's a universal language. So when we dance, we speak through gestures without saying any word. When we do drama with the kids, they speak, they imitate, yeah. And when they sing, they also touches the soul in the hidden place where no pill or therapist can touch. So that is my life. I inspire, I don't give up. I want to make sure everyone is brave enough to face any challenge. So I can say Global Sunday taught me that a lot, and I'm grateful that I was even able to part with Global Sundays with assistance from Lungani to help me to make sure that I promote my show even at the new radio station where I'm working, at the Inanda 88.4 FM, as a host of the melodies. But it's just a pity that now we are having challenges since we are renovating. There are a lot of challenges because we are even doing our radio broadcasting on the newsroom. So yeah, so we have to do everything from scratch and start in the new slate, in the new renovated studio. I hope by next month everything will be in order. But yeah, the show inspired me a lot and it's made me a better person. That's all I can say. And it integrates with everything that I do. I'm a beauty therapist. I make sure that people are looking forward to be beautiful. I just make people to be positive in life, bring back the self-esteem. Even if you are wounded inside, no one must see that. They must see the smile and have hope when they see you. People must have hope when they see your smile. That's my motto, and never give up. Yeah,
Powerful.
throw it back to you.
Powerful. I just want to do something different, if you guys allow me. We have a caller on the line by the name of Utabi. Tabi, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Hello, everyone on studio.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
Tabi, I'm calling from South Africa in the Eastern Cape.
Hi, Tabi. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, I just wanted to say happy anniversary. Keep up the good work. We're watching and we love everything about the show. It's inspiring a lot. It's so good to see it growing every day. I just started to watch last month, but I'm a big fan.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Powerful, powerful. Thank you so much, Tabi. Thank you so much, Tabi. Shout out to you, Tabi. Yeah, what I would like us to do, if you guys allow me, just to play one of the videos from from back then. Obviously, it's gonna be a video of almost like the first show that it was ever broadcasted live. So this is gonna be kind of like a really, really embarrassing, but it's gonna be fun as well. So is everyone ready for this video?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we are.
Oh,
We can't wait.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's watch this video. And then when we come back, we talk some more. Enjoy. Oh my God.
You are watching Global Sundays.
I'm planning to take this to another level. But it's just the beginning, it's just the start. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. Just give me a call, let me know what you think.
Our Facebook page, Diverse Global Studios. See you there.
Welcome, Sanibonani, hello world. Welcome to Global Sunday. Sesifikile sekunjalo. Hey, yesterday. Actually, it was this morning. It was 4 a.m. when I was preparing for the show. So I had a nosebleed. I think something and then umzimba ufuna ukuresta, and then I was pushing my body too hard, and then I ended up having a nosebleed. But I'm feeling better now. I'm back in the show. I'm back in the game, man.
Global Studios. See you there.
Welcome, everybody. Where the tables at? Welcome to Diverse Global Studios. This is Global Sunday, and you with your boy Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. I am super excited, Namhlanje. We've got insane lineup, and I've got a guest for you. Go to my Instagram, chocolate_kid_. That is me, baby. Right now, I just want to open up the show with my man, Ubek Pagey. The same interviewer last week. We had an interview with him last week, and it was brilliant. If you missed out, just click up here with Diverse Global Studios and check our previous episode, and then you will see what was popping. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Ubek Page. Let's see which is part of the new back page.
What we actually do, start abantu abanamabhizinisi or business ideas. Sibanikeza platform, market, give them a branding now, yonke. Basically, sesikwenzile from I've been doing that for the past 7 years. Full time. So what we do, if ever you have a business idea, and you've got a business lab, you're struggling to get customers, it's somewhere along the line, there's something which you're doing wrong. We are the doctors about this because it's something that I've been reading about it, that time is something that you cannot buy and something that you cannot ask anyone to give it to you. So everything that you do, you must make sure that it will pay at the end. So there is something that people used to say. They say hard work pays. Yes, it does. But you need to be smart too. You don't have to work hard and not being smart. Just work smart and work hard and follow your dream. Don't forget your dreams. Never forget your dreams, Elifin. Your dreams are very important. and work hard and follow your dream. Don't forget your dreams. Never forget your dreams, Elifin. Your dreams are very important.
For the past 4 weeks, I don't know, four weeks. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate your support. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this song quickly and then prepare to talk with Ebo asikunikela lapho ukuthi yena ucebe kanjani lapha eCape Town. So I hope you enjoy. MXO Atinkosu Jesu. This is Diverse Global Studios, and this is Global Sunday with your boy Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. You enjoy.
Yo, G, Luga, how's it?
Hey, good, bro. How is it going?
Very well, Influence. Very well. What an honor to be invited to your show. And thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in. I know it's a lovely Sunday evening. Probably should be spending time with family, but you decided to join us. So thank you so much. So it's a winner here to actually share my story and where I've been and where I intend to go.
For more information, visit our Facebook page, Diverse Global Studios. We'll see you there.
Khuluma nabo mfana batshela ukuthi khamba kanjani. Uyumfana waseNatal uLungani Gwala aka Chocolate Kid Leo umZulu wase-America. Welcome to Global Sunday. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's another day, it's another Sunday. I hope church was fine. Check it. Say hello to your fans, Miss Classic. Reveal yourself.
Hello viewers at home. This is Bongi Wemsomi. You know me by the name Miss Classic. I'm from Gomashu, Snangawin, Devon, KZN, with your new album, single album, Never Give Up. Stay tuned.
Ay, suka madoda ngengasho. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah. Jayla J Money, how is it going? Say hello and hello to your people.
Hello everyone, it's going good. How about you guys? Nice and sunny left here in Arizona. I'm Jayla J Money. Best name for my friends from my childhood, and here I am.
It seems like the signal is okay now, and then guess what? Andas, ngiphethe ikhokho la studio. Miss Classic, welcome back. Say hello to everybody, Miss Classic.
Hello to everyone listening at home. That are driving or with coffee. We're still here.
That was Ustelo Nedi Gaffer Squad, bathi I miss you. Ngizothi ngithatha nginise mumva ngindlale ingoma yo. I think here Lakipo Igaba, this guy is amazing. He used to be a break dancer, but then washinja waba a musician because before now we express a lengoma le inhlaba umxhola kakhulu because it's from a true story. Wakuhlangena ama-artist la ayephatheke kabi ekhathelwa amantombazane ahlukumezanayo. I think you should really listen to this track because I mean it is kind of funny, but you know it's a very emotional track, and the fact that iqiniso iyathintana ngempela inhliziyo. I mean how they structured this track, it was so amazing.
WK.
ukulinda kancane uzosithinta uma ese-ready. Ungayindawo ngizodlalela music omnandi. Send me a text on WhatsApp 0796734077. If you are in the United States, you can add +27 before the number. Enjoy the music. X Wonder. Ngizodlalela imeyo ka X Wonder. Ayikazi publish le ngoma le. Ingoma emnandi kakhulu uzoyithanda. Cheers. Remember to send me a WhatsApp voice notes, or you can even give me a call on WhatsApp. We can have a chat if you want to say anything, you want to send a shout out, or you want to give some advices in terms of ukuthi corona singayivikela kanjani kuyona. Please do so. 0796734077. If you are out of South Africa, you can add +27 and then the number. Enjoy the music. Welcome back. I hope we enjoy leli track esidlala manje. Guess what? Sesimphethe uDeep Rapper he's on the line. Deep Rapper khamba kanjani lapho mfethu? Hey, good right my brother. Hey, awungitshela ukephi nendawo njengamanje?
Right now mfethu ngisehillcrest.
Usehillcrest?
eDurban. Yeah.
Abantu abangamazi uDeep Rapper, akusitshele nje kafushane ukuthi uDeep Rapper ubani? Wenzani? It was VJ ethi mumble rap. Uyakhala la umfana ukuthi ama-rapper manje ayaganga ayikho lento ayenzayo. Ngitshela ukuthi ufila kanjani ngale story sibekayo umfowethu lana, but ngiyamuzwa mfethu sekukhona nje bafika bathi yeah ebese beyidlela ama-million, but anyway talent, but there's nothing we can do. Remember to text, or you can send me a voice note. You can say anything that you say. If you want to send a shout out to your friends, to your family, you can send me a shout out to 0796734077, or you can send me a voice note to let me Pipo Diamond. Remember, if you want to talk to me, you can send me a text to 0796734077. We can chat. Tell me, let me know what you're busy with, and just let me know what do you feel about my home studio. You know, I mean, I'm planning to take this to another level. But you know, it's just the beginning. It's just the start. But I'm loving it. Man. Just give me a call. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you love the music. Let me know if I'm an artist as South Africa pusher. You know, we can talk about anything, man. Okay, that's it.
Hello. The panel's nominated me to kick off, so we're talking about being part of the show, what challenges it is to be part of the show, what may be something that's funny. So hardest thing, if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, you have to take your furniture and bolt it to the ceiling and have a strap around your waist so that you can talk, because we're actually upside down apparently. And we're suspended, and I have to get a short haircut. And I see Miss Classy's got short hair at the moment as well, because otherwise our hair will drip down into the gravity, and that'll give it away. And we also have to stick all the pages together. But the other technical thing is to find a nice spot that's conducive to your personality. And I found the worst spot for my personality, which is the orange wall behind me. However, I find I've had to seek some fashion advice in recent weeks. I've had comments coming through. Can you please change your jacket to fit the decor of the show? Now, Miss Classic fits right into her background. She's got that lovely South African skin against the red. But see, I'm very Celtic, like our good friend Ken Ludden here. So I'm just trying different combinations, and I have hired someone to help me with this problem that I have. Nevertheless, I'm amazed at what Zoom does. We usually use Zoom for like a teaching conference or something, and it's pretty terrible. But Mr. Lungani can talk to us when we're talking to you, and for some reason he can talk through my speaker, and the speaker that's picking up my voice doesn't hear it. I don't know how you do that magic, Lungani. I'm absolutely fascinated. You have to share that with me, or I will buy it from you. we'll talk to them. I've also made a commemorative candle for the 1 year celebration, so I'll send that over to Arizona. Somehow I don't have the right envelope for it. Don't ask me what that is. I have no idea. But yeah, it's amazing that when I first was a toddler and my parents brought home their first black and white TV set, I thought that was something very incredible. We used to have to go up to the TV. There was no remote in those days. You have to click the knob, turn it around for the channel. Look how things have changed. I met young people who never knew what life was on the world like before mobile phones. They've always been there with the mobile phone and Wi-Fi and internet. So there's no way we could have done this in 1970, Lungani. We'd have to do it by correspondence or something, maybe on radio. But all this technology is just coming together, and COVID has promoted it. I suppose it gets better and better. And I'm just amazed that you can produce this show and the quality format. And as you said, we've had our ups and downs. I was part of the wonderful interview with Raina a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't the show's fault at all. It was people digging up cables outside your property, I believe. And it was so funny because Mr. Pipo was nominated to apologise on behalf of the world for everything. And I escaped that. And then last week I escaped the show again, not wittingly. I was in an aeroplane flying over the jungle, but that's what I do sometimes. But anyway, enough of me. On to someone that's probably more interesting on this point. How about Pipo respond to my his apology?
Yes. Well, I always, first when I first met Lungani, and then we talked about ironing the shirts. So that is a big technical difficulty, because I stopped ironing my shirts about 2 or 3 years ago. And I used to be, my partner, she was a fashion designer and she's a stylist. So she was providing all those different outfits for me when I was still a dancer. And I would have a solo show and she would send me makeup. So I would look really fantastic, I suppose, from the outside, because from the inside, it still feels like the opposite. However, I learned, Miss Classic, how much the beauty aspect can really do. I really felt it. So that kind of thing ended. I mean, we're still very good friends and all of that. However, I stopped ironing my shirts and I decided that I will have black shirts or white shirts. That's it. Simple. So, and now that when I spoke to Lungani and it really became a thing, I had to figure out I need to start ironing my shirts again. I mean, I have a diploma as a media artist, and I make films and all of that, and I can plug, a camera and all of that, but ironing a shirt, well, and then I usually do it always at the last minute. So what I did during COVID, I sold my ironing boards, and I'm only left behind with the thing. I don't even know how it's called, like where the steam comes out.
It's called an iron.
An iron.
That's why you're ironing.
So don't.
I've got two.
Well, there you go. That's what you need. And I have one that has steam coming out of it. Do you have that too, David?
Hey, you guys, you're roping everything. Hey.
Mine's
Using the
electrical.
iron from the factory shop. The one that they are using from the factory shop now. The one that is dropping the clothes. It's just steaming out so that you can hang the clothes.
Yes, exactly. So what you need to do is like you need to hang it, but then
that's what
there's
people.
Okay. So do you all remember there was a big scandal that the president of the World Bank, I think it was, French name, and he was actually he went to prison because he did some things with people working in the hotel, and they found out that the best way he recommended to iron is you don't iron, like you put everything in the shower, you heat it up, and then you hang your suit in the shower, and you don't need to iron it at all because of all the moisture. It will get naturally into that state. So and I didn't want to. Yeah, well, I didn't want to take on advice from a guy who's, you know, who had that kind of history. So I got that ironing.
They must not do that at home.
Well, you must not do that at all, and it's a waste of energy. So, you know, and so there's really this technological question of how to iron the shirt, you know, in the show.
Oh my God, people.
What about you, Mr. Ludden?
Well, I had a vocal coach named Isaiah Lurie, brilliant man. And this is after I had operatic training in singing, and also I had done a lot of gospel in church, and then I had Isaiah Lurie, and the first thing I went in for my first coaching session, and Isaiah said, when is your next performance? And it was, I don't know, a couple of days ago. And he said, what shoes are you going to wear? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, why don't you go and figure it out? And once you figured out what shoes you're going to wear, come back, reschedule, and bring them. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, like, and so I went out into my car, and I decided quickly that what I would do is I would wear the shoes I was wearing then in the show. And I went back in and I said, I figured it out. I'm going to wear these shoes. And he said, okay. Then he made me take my shoes off, and I did all my vocalizing with no shoes. And then when we rehearsed the songs I was going to sing, I had to have the shoes on that I was going to use on stage. And I said, what is this? And he said, it changes everything. First, when you're getting warmed up, you have to be in connection to the earth. You have to feel it. You have to feel that energy. But you have to know how to sing and perform with the footwear that you're going to have on the set, because it changes the way that you interact with the earth's, you know, energy. And this is years, decades ago. And so I always do that. Well, when we're doing this show, there was one day that things were not going so smoothly, and Lungani was getting ready to start. And he said, oh, no, I can't start. I don't have my shoes. And I'm like, oh, come on. It's TV. It's Zoom. You can. And he said, no, I can't, because you have to have the whole outfit, even if they don't see it. I know if it's on or not. So I'm assuming that everybody has pants on and that you're all wearing shoes.
Pajama pants.
Well, no, that's Lungani. You know, he was born in pajamas. But anyway, so that's a technical thing that I did. I did a couple of shows. I have to be honest with you that my pants were not the pants that went with the top half. I just felt wrong, completely wrong. So now I dress I even choose socks, everything, because it changes the way that you feel when you're doing a performance. So that's a very major technical issue.
Let's all stand up. No, let's not.
Yeah, now you're making me to suspect that you are not wearing anything underneath your pants. I think you're wearing shirts and coats only.
I think that David has on bright orange underpants. That's all he has. It matches the wall.
So you won't see anything against the wall.
That's right. So, Miss Classic, to be with a bunch of us guys who are so hopeless about things like that, why don't you give us your technical advice?
Technical advice? What I can say is that you must learn more of, because now we have equal rights according to the Constitution here in South Africa. So I hope you can take the same thing, even if maybe the Constitution is not the same that side. Because, you know, in olden days, the boys used to go look after the livestock, and girls will go and fetch water and fetch the firewood. But now, after the election of 1994, things have changed. Boys and girls, women and female, they need to have equal responsibilities now. So you should maybe try to practice to be perfect in all the things that you will need to survive with. Like if you are left alone in the flat, you must be able to survive. You must be able to fry the egg and make it a chutney, a tomato and onion, and be able to eat nice meal and impress the ladies. You know, the ladies can keep you if you're good in the kitchen as well, and if you can be able to iron for the ladies. So that's all I can give you. Just try your best to practice. I assure you, you'll be perfect, and you'll be able to maintain your loved ones and to look good as well.
Yes. Well, yes, I know when I was married, I had to do all the shopping, all the cooking, all the ironing, all of the maintenance of the cars, and keeping so I learned those skills early on. And my wife's job was to sit on the couch and make lists of more things for me to do. But we had our equal rights for women in the 1970s, so it's evolved quite a bit here in the United States. But one of the things I think that is really, you talk about challenges and all that. My generation, I mean, I was almost 30 years old when I got my first television set in my life, because I toured my entire youth. When computers started, I was really interested, and I learned all of the programming languages. I could write and read code. And then when they got to the modular programming of today, when they introduced C++ and went beyond Quicksilver, I was left in the dust. And now I can't figure anything out. And I know that I'm going to make Lungani have white hair in just a couple of weeks here because of all the technical problems that I have trying to figure this stuff out. What about you, Lungani? You're the mastermind. You're the magician behind the screen, making
I don't know how it's doing.
Well,
I don't know how it's doing.
Well, I have one thing to share, but yeah, I'm just gonna briefly share. In fact, Miss Classic reminded me about that, and it got into me in such a way that I tried my best to just completely wipe it off my mind, and then Miss Classic brought it up today as we were off air. So there was
when you're looking for the guy for 3 weeks. Yes. And the guy kept on climbing on the trees because of the network. I didn't even know if it was network or what.
Yes. Yes.
Ended up wanted to quit the interviews because of that.
Yes. So there was this guy, one of the upcoming artists that we were supposed to interview, and then so what happened is, people, when they hear about the show, they don't do their research. They don't look at the previous videos. Not all of them, though. Like the professional artists, they do that. Since we, I'm not going to go there, but back then, people didn't do it. So, and then this guy started making a research on what exactly this show that I'm going to be part of. And then he realized that it's a show that is being published or broadcasted live and being seen by anyone who will be able to see it. So and then he just realized what mistake he has done. So I don't think he was ready for it. So so he, instead of being honest with me and saying, you know what, my brother, I'm not ready for this, he just kept running away from me. And so now when I call him, he would be like, I'm trying to find network, and now I'm on top of the roof. I'm on top of the roof trying to find network. Now I'm climbing on the tree trying to find network. And then I looked for him for like, I don't know how many days, Miss Classic, maybe remind me.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. I was trying to look for him 3 weeks, and then when I said, you know what, it's fine, and it's fine, I think it meant something else for him, and he was thinking that, okay, which means I'm just cutting him off, maybe in my life or something like that, I don't know. And then he responded, he was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh my God, you were offline for like the entire week and now you respond and you're telling me anything, and then there you go. He went offline again. I was like, okay, that's it. But yeah, that was the most crazy part of the show where I had to chase this guy for like 3 weeks to get him on the show. So yeah. And then at the end I realized that he was not ready for it, he was scared because I realized, like it happened to a number of guests when especially when we do the countdown and we're like, okay, we're about to go live now and we are live, and and especially when we're about to introduce them, they're like, okay, am I allowed to I'm not marking anyone, but some of them, am I allowed to take a sip of am I allowed to pull like one or two, I'm not gonna say what it is, but yeah, it's so fun. It's really crazy. It's fun. So it's good
But it's
experiences.
the thoughts that count, Lungani.
Yeah.
I would like to send a shout out to all those who wish to be part of, but they could not succeed. It's the thoughts that count.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's really amazing because there's this question that parents used to ask young people when they grow up, when they're young actually, when they're still kids. I had that question also. What do you want to be when you grow up? And somehow, this came into my mind, and I analyzed this question. Why do our parents ask us every time, what do we want to be when we grow up? And when I was there, I looked at myself and I was like, why do I have to wait to grow up and be something? Why can't I be something while I'm young? Because life is unlimited unless someone is instilling something in your head that will limit you. So I started teaching the group or sharing with the group. I don't like to say teaching, but sharing with the group that I used to lead back in the days in Africa, that what, whenever you find yourself in a state where you have a child and you're trying to groom them and stuff like that, never ever ask a child what they want to be when they grow up. At least you can ask them, what do they want to be? Maybe, I don't know, depending what age they are, next year, tomorrow, or what do you want to be right now? Because you are actually limiting the children when you're asking them what they want to be when they grow up. We've seen so many kids, the strongest kids in the entire world, the fastest kids, kids who are playing sports, when they're still young. It's so amazing. It's so amazing what the body can do. And if we do not limit ourselves and tell ourselves that we can do it, then we can do it. So that's what kept me also going. Out of all the challenges that we came across, I managed to say, you know what, the body is unlimited. The body can do whatever that it wants to do. So I will let it do it because I already have it within me. Let me just, tell the body what to do, and the body will figure out the way of doing it. It's like, Mr. Ludden, when you tell us in class that, you know what, when we dance, just tell your body to go on balance. The body knows. It's like when you're falling, you don't tell your hand to lift up now and hang on, or put your head up so you can balance. The body just does it on its own. It knows that I'm falling. I gotta do something so I can save myself. So tell the body that this is what's happening now, and then the body will react and do the right thing. So I had the vision, and then I told the body, this is what I want, and then the body will make a plan to achieve that. So all the artists that I think it's only 3. It's not a lot. Never ever be scared. Believe in yourself. Your mistake is not a mistake, because it's a lesson. It's a lesson for you that will teach you. You will have something to talk about in the future. Like right now, if we didn't go through all these problems that we went through, we'll be looking at each other and just be quiet and not even knowing what to talk about. I know David Pyke wanna kill me right now. He's like, pass it over to me now. He's got something to say also, because he's been through a lot of different experiences. People, Miss Classic and Mr. all of us. So in the future, if you are required or asked to do something, just be truthful to whatever that you are required to do, even if it's just for free, just for the sake of your name. Do it correct, and then if you don't like it, leave it and continue with your life, but you left a good mark behind you. So that's what I'm gonna say right now, and then pass it over to whoever wants to bite me right now, as I'm talking nonstop. Yeah, over to you guys.
Well,
Okay.
I did say everyone wants to talk. You see?
1, 2, 3, go.
Go for it, people.
Okay.
no, Pipo.
Well, Lungani, you remind me, I went through a phase and I thought, damn it, it's a mistake. I did a mistake. I did it wrong. And that's only about a week ago. And someone told me, he said, no, you're learning. It's not a mistake. You're learning. And I was like, oh my God, if it's only learning, it's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm proud of it, that I needed to go through this little, I couldn't go straight to where I would have wanted to go. However, it's learning. And there's some part in our education that when you start to learn that making a mistake is a problem. And so if we find a way, like I was told, say like it's learning, and then this makes it more constructive, wow, it could be something there. It could be a possibility. And speaking in front of other persons, yes, it is a challenge. And then what's going to happen is you're going to fall from your horse, it's going to hurt. And then what are you going to do? Get up, get back on the horse again and try again.
Never give up.
Yeah. In the academy, we have a class for the littlest kids, the 8, 9-year-olds. It's called a Happy Accident. And what they do is they're working on a clay sculpture. And it's a little bit complicated. It's very simple, but there are steps you have to do. And so they really invest in it. And of course, they're 8 years old, so they don't have a lot of dexterity. And then what happens is either I, as the director, or somebody else comes in and they get a book or they get a hammer and they just go and they smash everybody's sculpture. And it's soft clay. And the kids are all, and everything. And then what we do is we turn it around and look at it from all angles and turn it into something even more wonderful. And the lesson is called Happy Accident. Life is what actually happens. It's not what we plan to happen. Where we end up is the sum total of everything we have learned, all of those lessons we've learned and all of those experiences we have had turn out our uniqueness and our individuality. And the thing is, like Margot Fontaine said, just like Miss Classic, the way Margot Fontaine said, she said the most important attribute or character for an artist is tenacity, meaning you don't give up. You just keep going. Our job as artists is not to describe a fairy tale. Our job as artists is to give people hope in reality, give them belief in themselves, give them trust that if they just apply themselves, they'll be able to do it. And like you said before, Pipo, imagine a world without music. Imagine a world where there was nothing that shows you, yes, you can do it. Keep going. And
Indeed.
that's what music does. Yeah.
Yeah, we are guiding the action plan, actually. Our job is to guide the action plan. We identify the skill and see the potential and see that you are able to do it, and then promote you and acknowledge you and make sure we get you opportunities. If you can't, to give you guidelines how to get in touch with the stakeholders, how to make events. We do what we do best. If you don't know how to do it, you have to learn. Learning you have to always learn. You always learn in life. So there's no limits in learning. So you need to learn. Even if we are artists, as an artist, I still need to know how to do proper proposal by myself. I still need to know how to do a poster on my phone. I still need to know how to engineer the sound when I'm performing before I can even employ someone to, I can even make the people listen to my music when I'm performing and the sound is bad because I don't have the knowledge of how it sounds. So those are all the things that we need to guide each other on as we are here on the Global Sundays. We're just a family of 5 bubbly people who wants to guide you to the right channel. So if you're a viewer at home that is looking forward to progress in your music or any art form, just keep in touch. Stay with the Global Sundays as we are going to start a new year. We're going to start with the new programs, and we are looking forward to have you here, and we are looking forward to guide you on how to get to the events, on how to even promote your visual arts. We have a lot of events and festivals. You can even draw, paint, and come and showcase your paintings in the events that are happening all over the countries. So for now, yeah, I'll take it back to the studio, but I think we need to find out, what do you do during the breaks when you're off air? And that is what I'm looking forward to. When you're not talking to the people, what do you do? Let us hear about it, because we are celebrating the anniversary this week.
Okay, who wanna go first?
David, are you having a wine?
No, my rule is 2:00 in the afternoon. So it's a double espresso with my little cup, and if the break's long enough, I can go and make a new batch of coffee, and that's really wonderful. The other things that I can do is 40 push-ups, perhaps, which I don't, or I could do some navel gazing, or perhaps I could write the first part of a new concerto or something, if thus inspired.
Nice.
Only 10 seconds of the concerto, though. That's all I can manage.
And I love your blondie. It matches with that orange. The orange wall, it matches.
Please send through your fashion tips, Miss Classic, because as Ken and Lungani well know, it's not my strong point. But your advice is professional, so that's great.
Pipo, what do you do behind scenes?
Yes. Well, I have a weak bladder, so I always go to the restroom first chance it's possible, you know. As you might have noticed with my hair, I'm not 21 anymore. So that comes with the rest of the organs that start to say like, hello, please, give me a break. And then I go, and then sometimes our lovely producer, he shortens down the break, and then I hear him from afar saying like, where's Pipo? And then I need to, run back, and get back and pretend like, So it's very, we're being very well planned. That doesn't happen. So we know always in advance how long our breaks are. And according to the length, as David says, who is a genius in not choosing the clothing, but in writing the music, he can write a concerto. However, I'm more concerned about, in Germany, the light changes. Now you've seen that it became dark during the last 2 hours, and then I changed the lighting. So the lighting goes, when the sun sets, it's a warm light. And then when it has completely set, I'm only with the light in the room. So I need to adjust the lighting that I have installed. So that's what I do. I check the lighting temperature during it. And then I also change the intensity of the light, because the sunset having, passed means that there's less light from one side and then from the other side. So it looks like I should get one of those lamps that you have, Miss Classic, because if that will make me look that beautiful like you do, I mean, I can do and write a symphony maybe in the break. Who knows?
Mr. Ken, what do you do there? You're putting off your shoes there in the kitchen and eating pub.
I change my shoes and I change my personality. No. What I do in a break, I have to. My life is very, very, very busy. And there is no time. I have things set up around the house that even in the bathroom, I'll either have a book or I'll have my computer or I'll have something I need to work on. And if I get like 30 seconds, I get something done. And so when I'm doing this show, what I try to do is I try to look ahead and what's coming so that it's fresh in my mind because I have so many things going on that I have to constantly focus on what I'm doing at the moment. I don't know. I've gotten it down pretty well. Now, I was on television 6 days a week. It wasn't live, but it was, I was on television doing interviews and things like that 6 days a week for 8 years. And so I kind of have learned how to use the downtime most effectively. But what I try not to do is break my train of thought because it's very important, the continuity. One of the things that Margot Fontaine asked me once, we were doing she was in a fairly new ballet for her. And she said, I want you to watch from the audience and I want you to watch scene 6. And I said, okay. And I said, what do you want me to watch for? And she said, I just want you to watch that my character is strong. And so I go through the thing and we get to scene 6 and her character's not even on stage. And I'm like, what the hell? And so afterwards I said, Margot, like, scene 6, you're not on stage. Did you say the wrong one? And she said, no. And she said, I didn't ask what I was doing. I asked if my character was strong. And I thought back, well, scene 5, she gets insulted. And she goes storming off to try to figure out what she's going to do to respond to this insult. And then scene 7, she comes back with her response. And she was worried that during that gap, that her character was still strong enough that people realized that she was going to prepare her character was preparing response to the insult that had happened. I keep that in mind all the time because our viewers, God bless them. You know what I mean? First of all, just their loyalty to this show, but also this show is meaningful and it is important. And so I just want to make sure that when they leave and there's a video or whatever it is, and when they come back, it's not disorienting. They're still there. We're still there with them, even when the video is playing. So that's where I focus now.
Wow. Yeah, we have to leave a mark. By the way, what I was doing off the mic, I just add on my lipstick and put my makeup on, especially my pen on my cheese scope, so that I look gorgeous. And put my powder my nose. That's the best part of being a lady and a queen. So that I can keep on shining, but not to shine, shining. Yeah. But then, the next question for you guys, since I know you're gonna look at me as the queen, what was the hardest moment that you had in this show? I know you already touched Mr. Ludden. You already touched my one, the one from the scammers. When I was working and I was under pressure, scammers wanted to just showcase my whatever, my private parts on Facebook, and I survived that through God's mercy. And I had to go through a cyber police to make sure that I protect myself. And I had to be strong. And lucky enough, I had bosses, which is you and my principal, who were giving me full support. So whatever, because they know if you're in media, people, media can be easily be scammed, So yeah, what about you guys? And I know you had a recent incident with the show that you were hosting, the ballet show. And I know you had some challenges there. But rather than that, because I know you're going to answer on that, I just want to highlight on the one challenge that I had. To host Mamgci Namhlophe was an honor. It was a challenge to me as well, because the language that she speaks, she I don't want to say she demands respect, but she's a woman of respect. You have to watch what you're saying in front of her. She's that grounded, cultural, and modernized, but in a very respectful way. You cannot just say any language around her. You cannot just speak anyhow. So that was the highlight of my the challenges that I had. And that day of that show of Dr. Mhlope, I had to make sure I don't come out of line. I had to make sure I was crossing my fingers that I behave, I say the right words, So yeah, that was the challenge, when you interview an icon that is so respectful through the whole world, and the language that she speaks. When she see you smoking, when she see you wearing drinking alcohol in public and not handling everything well, she doesn't like that. I know her, So I was making sure that the language you speak, it's not a language of the young ones. She deserves that language of respect. So that was my highlight of the challenges in the shows that we've made throughout the years, as we are doing the anniversary this week. But I know you had a current challenge. I will throw it back to you at the studio. Maybe Ken or Pipo can talk about it in the recent show that you had.
Well, I have the last several weeks and months have been challenging. My mother is not in good health. There have been several family challenges. And then the greater challenge, or not the greater challenge, I'm sorry, the greater family of artists. We've suffered some losses, unexpected, terrible losses, the kind that you can't even make sense of. And in a time of COVID, when we haven't been able to do what we normally do, we haven't been able to reach out. As well, there have been, as in your life, there have been several young people that have been, that I've trained, that I've brought up, that I'm in as being their teacher and mentor when they were in their student years. They have run into difficulties, and some of them have decided to give up on life. When you're on the air, when you're on the stage, when you're on the radio, you have to do the job. And yeah, you have to do the job. You have to keep going. But in terms of this particular show, the biggest challenges for me have been dealing with the technology, because I am actually very lazy in a way, because I have such a great crew around me all the time that there are skills that I have not learned. And there have been times that I have been reading the news and the papers are falling down, and I have to just try to remember. I put up little notes how to pronounce everybody's names. I try to practice, and then I'll get in the middle of a sentence and I can't remember how to pronounce the person's name. I've gotten very good at conversing with people and referring to them without having to use their names. In this international setting, I did a radio broadcast of news. I won a competition when I was just about 15, and that was during the Vietnam War. And I had to read the news as it came off the ticker tape of the names of the Vietnamese generals and towns and their roads and their mountain ranges and things like that in Vietnamese transliterated to English. And I was 15 and on the live radio. And so those are the most challenging moments to me, is the technical, because the personal I've learned how to do. I've learned how to do. And the other thing that I've learned is that if something is personal and it really impacts you, if you have fans that really admire you, it actually teaches them that you are actually still a human being. No matter what iconic presence you may have, you are human. And I think people really appreciate that. But in terms of this, there was this month that they were switching from 4G to 5G, and we never knew what was going to happen. And I would be terrified when I was on the show because I just didn't know what was going to happen and how I would deal with it, because Lungani's in the studio. I'm not in the studio, and I'm kind of on my own in my office. And, and so as silly as that may seem, the life challenges I know how to deal with. The technical challenges completely leave me undone.
Yeah, people and David, what was the challenges that you had?
When those technical challenges happen in a production, and I'm talking about being on a television production or theater production or a movie or photo shooting, those things, then usually we're in a team and then someone comes and helps.
Yeah.
So if there's someone from the other department and they see you struggling, and I've decided for myself a couple of years ago that I would mainly, if that is possible, be able to work with people who appreciate each other and support each other, that I would stick to that kind of people rather than taking the highest paid job or the most prestigious job. That meant that I also ended up with teams that would come and have your back. And what is most challenging for me is that when I see something's going on and I can't do anything because I'm in my room. So I could talk, however, talking somehow feels like trying to push it away, while actually I'm aware that there is a problem. And it hurts me really to see someone else struggling and I don't know what to do. And I find it the difficulty of the Zoom world with its huge advantages. And here I do not have big challenges, most of the time. And I always blame myself when there is a challenge, that I didn't think it through, that I didn't take enough time to prepare, that I didn't test it. And if it fails and I've tested it, that I didn't double test it, and that I didn't have a plan B. And when I had a plan B, that I didn't have a plan C. And then when something went wrong anyway, I should have figured it out before, and maybe I should have more experience, So all those things, I've done a couple of hundreds of projects in my professional life, and on all different kinds of levels, national, international, small, big scale. And then I was on the top of the decisions, and then I was on the bottom. And so that's something, as just Mr. Ludden mentioned, you get used to those things. But I never get used to see a colleague struggling and feeling, I wish I could be there, and help. So that's what really is a challenge.
Wow, this is interesting. Like I'm sure as we are bringing out these challenges, we're going to also, as a Global Sunday, we're going to work on the challenges that we had, and upgrade or try the contingency plan or learn from the challenges that we had and try to improve from them. Like we also had the network challenge. We also had to cut some of the shows, you remember, because of the network. I don't think there is a solution about the network, but it's also about teaching or giving awareness to our community or our viewers that if we are getting that challenge again of the network, we don't have a choice but to cut the show, but they can be able to catch us in the future on the YouTube, because Lungani is one of our best technicians we have. So they will follow us on the page of YouTube, and they will also follow us on the show when the show is upgraded or modified. So they mustn't move out if they see challenges, because the network is not guaranteed all the time. So that's the main thing that can give us challenges as the Global Sunday, for our viewers not to enjoy the show, and also for us not to have the smooth show. So just to highlight that, yeah, and also the documents not to be prepared on time on our side, because one of us is staying in the farm, so that you can print out some things. So yeah, but that's a small challenge because I can be able to write down some things. Yeah, so David, you don't have any challenges? We're going through to the second session.
Getting out of bed in the morning is the challenge. I actually get Pipo to phone me 30 minutes before, because I know he's in Germany and he's having red wine and having a nice time over there, and I'm in the middle of my sleep pattern, so I don't trust my alarm. I nearly missed a flight about 2 months ago. I put 2 alarms on, 2 different phones, and it was an early morning, and I didn't hear either of them. So I've asked Mr. Pipo to please disturb me in the middle of the night so that I make sure that I get up. So that was one challenge. But the technology through that Lungani takes us through, and he's able to fix a lot of technical problems. He does stuff on Zoom. I have no idea how he achieves it. I'll watch him at work hopefully one day, or he'll tell me. But it's pretty straightforward. There's these shows, we have a format of spreadsheets created, and if we can refer to that, it gives us the guidance. Because I've done a little bit of radio, a little bit of compare, but I'm talking a lot more on a camera, so that's a new realm. Ken's had a lot of experience with TV, as he said, the 6 days a week for the 8 years. But for some of us people who have been in the darker parts of the orchestra pit, we've crawled out of those cavernous areas, and you get to see what we look like not behind a music set. So it's a learning curve. Do we speak too quickly? Do we speak with a strong accent? Do we make a joke when people are being serious? Do we keep it so serious that we can't break it up? There's all sorts of dynamics for a novice. I'm in my 50s, but it's new. And actually, I think as a piece of advice, anybody that's gone through their midlife crisis, I'm still having mine, should take up something new. So if you gave me a trumpet to play in a band somewhere, that would be the old, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I keep doing it. But yeah, to sit in front of a camera and talk to these fine artists and have to think on your feet. And then when a technical problem comes up, work with the team. Lungani's the coach in that area, and take his guidance, and his cues are very helpful when he goes 3, 2, 1, and then we just look at the screen and we don't even know who's talking, but that's our fault. But yeah, that's the best part of it, is to I think Lungani said at the start of our session today, he's a people person. I'm actually a real introvert. I'm the sort of guy that would normally go to a party and hide in the corner under a pot plant or the table usually. So it's making me communicate with people and interact with people a lot more than I do. I do it in a classroom, but I put a face on when I do it with the teaching. You're a professional and you can address people in that sense, but I'm naturally introvert, so it's fun to sort of tease communication out of myself. Yeah, I'm having a great experience with it.
That's very profound. Thank you. And I'm sure Lungani wants to share with us the best moment now, maybe the best moment, maybe favorite show so far.
Maybe I will start with the challenging moments. There's a lot, obviously. I'm saying this just maybe for somebody who's out there at home, who wish to start the same thing, and they're going through trouble. I just want them to understand that you are going to go through challenges, but if you understand, like we said previously, that challenges, they make you stronger. But yeah, I looked at every challenge as a seed for something good that is coming, obviously, because when you think about it, if you have ran a farm before, or taken care of a farm, or if you have seen a mother or grandmother or a father taking care of a farm, it's not really nice to plant. unless you understand what exactly you are doing. If you can just call somebody out there, and say, here are the seed, just plant, they will definitely have some tough times to plant, because they don't even know what are they planting and what are they planting for. But you, as the person who started the farm, you know exactly that at the end of the year, a lot of people will harvest. Not only you, a lot of people will harvest, or something will come up from whatever seeds that you are putting in the soil. So every challenge that I came across, there's a lot. I can't even start mentioning them one by one, but there's a lot. I see them as an opportunity for me to grow, and I see them as an eye opening for me, or as a preparation for something good that is coming for me. That's how I managed to handle all the situation. And this is really awesome, because I learned this from the Global Sunday, and then I took this and I use it on my daily basis, on my other separate life, because I have a lot of things also that I do. I have a lot of people that I communicate with, but each and every time I come across a problem, I'm like, bring it on. I'll accept it as it is. I will deal with it. But at the same time, I know that each and every time there's a problem, there is something good that's gonna come up. I mean, the key is what we always talk about, to not give up, obviously, because if you come across a problem and then you give up, then you can't expect anything good that's gonna come out from there. So yeah, I'll just make an example with someone who is a farmer who is planting, especially if it's a huge farm. It's tough. You sweat, sometimes you're doing it in the sun, but you know what you're doing it for, and you sometimes sometimes you end up enjoying it. You end up enjoying it because these problems that you come across are the problems that make you stronger, and are the problems that will make you even enjoy the outcome, to say, oh, now I know why I came across this issue. This was the reason, and you will have something to say to the people who are willing to do the same thing, or willing to take the same path. So yeah, I enjoy the problems, the challenges. They teach me a lot. So yeah, that's my answer. I'm passing it over to someone else.
I find it always challenging to stop after the show, and then we're all on our own, guys. Every time I miss you guys, and it's over. That's very different to the stage. You don't stop a performance and then everybody is gone suddenly.
So that's the best part of it. So can you share the best part of the show, or the favorite moments of the show, the highlights?
Yes, please.
Mine was to sing a song with Thandisoni and Simtandile. It was interesting to host here. Actually, all the guests that we had were interesting, but my highlight was to sing with the guests that we had, like Thandisoni, and the patient, and the lovely show, to see a multi-talented person like Simtandile, who makes the earrings, who makes the fine arts, who sings, who makes the events without funding. She's doing the collective baskets. To see that type of a woman, and knowing that I share the star, the date of birth with a person like that, it gave me courage. To see a Zulu Pavarotti, someone who's singing opera in South Africa, who sings like Pavarotti overseas, and the show that was so profound. Namhlope's show was the most powerful show I've ever had, because we shared a lot in terms of the stories and the collaborations and projects that she's doing, and the singing that she ended up with. On top of that, she shared the CD that I collaborated. I featured her too, which is Africa Mother Mary. So that was the highlights, my favorite moments that I had, except for the religious ones of Godson, whom just got married. Congratulations to him. and Pastor Mahlobo, because they always inspire us and bring us back to God and give us strength, to come closer to God all the time. So those were my best shows I had. Anyone who had a show, a favorite show?
I definitely had one last week with young William. I am not very attuned to the rap. In my mind, what rap is the modern troubadour. It's sort of like the musical news, but it's what's really happening in real people's lives. And I toured a stage show at one point for 14 years, and I sang. It was a singing and dancing show. And part of our show was to improvise on questions sent up from the audience. And one time I tell the band, before I read the question out loud, I tell them what kind of music to start playing. So they start playing something and they're improvising. And then I do a very slow dramatic reading of the question so that I can find out a final lyric and then backwards rhyme it so that into what they're creating, so I can actually sing a song. And there was this one time that I said, okay, so how about, and what I meant to say was like going shopping in the city, but I said some urban shopping music, and they started this hip hop thing. And so I had to like do a hip hop song. And my daughter was backup singer in the show. And afterwards she came up to me and she said, Papa, don't ever do hip hop again. Ever. I will quit the show. I'll quit the family. Don't ever. So I went into that show last week kind of terrified. And I found this miracle of a young man who is so smart and so just brilliant. And in his music, I was able to hear so much. So that was a very high point for me. The other high point for me happens off the air with each one of these artists. When I find out how much we all have in common from being artists, it just affirms all of the times in my life that being an artist made me not be able to participate, not be able to show up, not be able to have the same experience as other people. When you're well known, you can't do things in public the way that you did if nobody knows you. I mean, and I know all of you understand this. And so, so that's always been good. It's sort of like every week it's a family reunion of artists, and it reaffirms for me my identity, in this. What about you, Pipo or David?
So, sorry, I just wanna. We have a caller on the line, and it happened that it's one of the callers who were once part of the show as our special guest. So I would like to welcome Mr. Mwandla on the show. Hello, Mr. Mwandla.
Hello, Lungani. How are you, my brother?
All is well, my brother. All is well. We're celebrating our first annual. Is there something that you'd like to share with us? Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much.
Yes, wow. First of all, I just want to say greetings to our panelists, Mr. Ken, Miss Classics, David Pyke, Mrs. Nokanya, Abu Baba Lapao, Babu Temba, and Babu African Keys. Wow. Well, I have been in this show since it started, and guess what? It's just amazing how our host Lungani Gwala keeps on pushing. Even sometimes it's not really happening according to his plan, but he just had a way of just keep on pushing. So we have learned a lot, and his principles we are using them in our music academy, running music academy. So thank you so much for this show. It's touching lives. It's changing people's lives. We are learning a lot. So I just want to say happy anniversary, Global Sunday. You're the best. We are supporting the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mwandla.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. That was Mr. Mwandla. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwandla, for your support. I mean, he's an amazing gentleman. He owns an academy called MI Academy back in Durban, South Africa. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Please go for it, Mr. Pipo.
So, Mr. Ludden, you mentioned last week's show, and that was for me in the same time a highlight and the very most kind of difficult experience so far, because it was so profound that after some of things that he said, William Bostic, I found myself speechless. I found myself like, okay, that is, I can't add anything. It was incredible. Yeah, wasn't it? I mean, that was just, and it made me aware of those things happening in his life. And like Miss Classic, sometimes you mention some of the challenges you went through, and we're sharing some of the things that are so honest in a way, empathic, in an empathic way. That's just how they are. So I'm very grateful for having the chance to be here and spend time with each other, because that is one of the rare things that you meet someone, and usually when I meet someone and I would like to spend time with them and find out more and you know, be part of something that they give to you, that is so rare that happens. And being part of the show, it's possible basically to experience it. And like David Pyke said, you can speak with those top level artists and have conversations. And especially now that a lot of things are going, for example, I'm not very good in social media. So I'm very happy that Lungani covers all of that, you know, and I'm just being there and I plug in and we're part of the show. And it's amazing to enter. And the best moment for me was after the first show, and I was the one to say, thank you. This is the Global Sunday. Goodbye. And wow, no, it was an honor. And I was just like, yeah. And then you never know as a performer how it looked to the public. So usually as a performer, you know, I see all the difficulties and I see the mistakes happening and all of those things. And then when Lungani said, yeah, they're really well done. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was melting. And I felt like I'm so happy I didn't disappoint him. Because I was closing the show, you know, huge responsibility.
Who's closing the show today?
Yes,
Pyke. I have something that I would like us to go to before we have like 10 minutes, then we can close the show, because I know next week also there will be, you know, time for us to, you know, celebrate even more, and maybe this time there will be wine all the way from Australia from from Mr. Pyke. Pyke, please start making that shipping to the US and South Africa as well as Germany. Yeah. I know Mr. Ludden, you're going through really horrible time, and I didn't want to distract your heart right now, because I could see that talking to the team, it make you, you know, quite shift focus and talk about fun things while we know that you're going through some tough times. If we can just you know, pay tribute to Mr. Ludden, let me not I would like you to just, you know, express this situation or the news, and so everyone can have a clear understanding on what happened, and then we can, you know, my part will be playing a video of the tributes just to, you know, yeah, please go for it. Anyways.
Thank you, Lungani. This past week, very, very iconic ballerina died. Her name is Carla Fracci. Carla Fracci was one of 5 women in history who achieved the status of prima ballerina assoluta du monde. A prima ballerina means that in the company of ballet dancers, the number 1 ballerina in that company makes the artistic decisions for the company. A prima ballerina assoluta is an artist who is in that position in more than one company at a time. And a prima ballerina assoluta du monde is the woman, the artist, who any company on earth, if she decides we're doing Swan Lake with your company in June, we're going to do Sleeping Beauty with your company in March, the companies do it. She is the artistic director and CEO of all the companies on earth. Carla Fracci was one of 5. That was a great loss, but Carla Fracci had been ill for a long time. Now, just today, Dame Lucette Aldous, a dear friend of mine, there are pictures of us in rehearsal. She was a partner with Rudolf Nureyev. She was the number 2 person. If Margot Fontaine couldn't perform, Lucette was the one who performed. She was prima ballerina assoluta du monde as well, and she died today. She retired in 1978, I believe, to have her daughter, and she never returned to the stage until 2019, when I was creating a ballet in honor of Margot Fontaine's 100th birthday. David Pyke, I got to know him because I interviewed composers from all over the world, and he was the one who was selected to write the score. Lucette decided at the age of 79 to come out of retirement to be in that ballet. She, so the pictures you're seeing on the screen are pictures of me working with her. When I was 16, I believe, or 17, I first met her. She was so funny. She was, and on stage, you did not want to get anywhere near her on stage, because even though she was the prima ballerina, if you were near her, she would say something out of the corner of her mouth that was so funny you would lose your place. I mean, she just loved doing that. She is a dear, dear, dear friend. She's iconic. And she was scheduled to be here every year for the past 2 years, and coming up in 2022, she was scheduled to be here, and COVID prevented that. I wanted to say that, you know, there's so many things that you can say about a person, but I want to share with you a scene from a movie that she was in. She starred opposite Rudolf Nureyev in the historic feature film production of Don Quixote, the ballet. It's just a classical ballet movie, and it just went all over the world like wildfire before social media, before everything like that. The movie was made in 1972. Anyway, I want to have you enjoy her artistry with this clip.
You are watching Global Sundays.
So one of the things I just wanted to say was the reason she was coming, other than the fact that she is absolutely a guiding light to our academy, is she was never paid for her work in that film. Her pay to star in a major motion picture was to be $600. We were going to pay her in today's dollars what that performance was worth. Sorry. So that is Lucette Aldous. Let's somebody else talk. I can't.
Yes, well, I was lucky to having been in Australia with you and David Pyke, and I've never met her, but as a filmmaker, I was able to watch the footage, and it was mesmerizing to see her. And then she was on that throne, on that huge throne, this lady, and she was playing the queen. And I mean, we know what it means to be a queen, right? It's classic. You need to have a real, you know, you cannot play to be a queen. You need to be a queen. And
yeah, you don't even ask for it.
Yeah. Well, so she was the queen there, and it was extraordinary to see that from a computer screen. You could even feel it. And whenever that happens, then there is no replacement for that. So let's keep on, you know, passing on what someone like her was doing. And I know that in the academy, there's always the chance to have the pictures of the ballerinas in the studios. And I'm almost sure there's one of Lucette Aldous already, isn't there?
Many.
Well, may she rest in peace. It's really difficult if someone goes, and as you said, who came back even. For that brings me to another point, which is called the future. So,
if I can interrupt a second, though, Pipo, David actually worked with Lucette, I believe, in the studio, didn't you, David?
I had the pleasure and the privilege, is the better word. She was flying into the town where I was based, Mackay, which is in Queensland, north of Brisbane, and there wasn't anyone at the airport to meet her, and I thought that was a big, a terrible moment. So I organised for the local council. I went to them and I said, I know your people in the council are of a younger generation. You have no idea who is actually visiting Mackay. You probably can't even understand it. Maybe your mother or your parents or somebody. But I said, there's someone really very important that needs to be, and Ken was helpful with this as well, that we really need to be there and make a real greeting for this woman. She's very special. Anyway, but I rolled up first and the airliner came in, and it was just until the council arrived, they got themselves organised, and they bought a beautiful bouquet of flowers and really treated her nicely after the prompting. But I actually was there an hour with her, so I get to spend a whole hour with this icon, as Ken said, of the ballet world. I'd already had a copy of the DVD to at least familiarise the exact footage actually that Ken's just put on the TV now. And without knowing her in as a person, I watched the video, full length of it, and yes, Rudolph Nureyev is spectacular, but the leading lady is in that league, and it speaks for itself watching her work. And here's me, an Australian person, meeting an icon Australian person at an airport and given the privilege to speak with this woman. And then some of the stories that she was telling me about working with Baryshnikov and Nureyev, and it's just stuff that I didn't tape or write down, but I'm sure a historian would go nuts. The little insights of how she felt coming out of the curtain and called in at a particular scene and things like that. So the other thing that amazed me about Lucette Aldous and she's a dame, which is it's our highest honour that we give a woman, is that the kids that she worked with didn't know much about her either. And they saw this 79-year-old lady. She didn't hobble or anything like that, but she just looks like a 79-year-old lady, take out the class. And the young ones must have had some impressions in their mind, oh, this is going to be a geriatric mentor class or something like this. Lisette didn't just teach by using, sitting in a chair and directing with a stick. Lisette was out the front showing them the steps. Now, she did that for a full hour. And then there was a short break, and I thought, my God, this woman's just done all of this class, showing all of the steps. And guess what? After a short interlude, the senior class came, the 16-year-olds. And I thought, oh, my goodness. And, of course, the movements were livelier and more intense. She was going to give these mainly young girls, a few boys, a workout. This is a 79-year-old. And they couldn't. I was sitting in the gallery. I don't think they could actually keep up with it. They were exhausted, these 16-year-olds. The 79-year-old leading this whole thing. And we went to the mayor's office. That was Ken, myself, and Lisette. We're having a meeting with the mayor of Mackay, talking about possibilities, future production, and other things. And I think just walking in there, I mean, she was the queen, as you said, rightly so, Pipo. She's got so much iconic history behind her and artistry. She read the summit of an art form. And we're sitting in this room of the mayor, and the mayor's sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, do you realise who's in this room with you at the moment? Have you any idea? And there's Lisette not playing her own trumpet about herself or hamming herself up. But I thought to myself, you really got a bit of an idea, but you really don't have an idea what you've got in front of you. You've got an icon of the 20th century. And so Ken patched through the news this morning. All he said was, very simply, I can understand Ken being highly distressed, as I'm kind of processing it at the moment. Lisette has passed away. And but that's such a simple way to say something that's so momentous. So for those of you who don't know, the Don Quixote movie, find it, look it up on YouTube, have a look at it. Anyone out there listening to this program, go and have a look at what Ken just showed you. She makes it look straightforward. I can say to you that I have no idea the hours and not only the hours but the talent and how it all came together. And there should be movies made of these people, books written about them, and they should be heralded to the highest level. So Ken, it's a huge loss, particularly for you. It's a loss for me, because I remember how straightforward this woman was, how down to earth. She's a full dame. She's like royalty. It's like the next thing to royalty we have in Australia. And even though she is the queen, there's no ego or airs or graces that she was laying upon me. I'm just a simple guy who met her at the airport, and she was grateful that at least somebody could take her for a cup of tea until the cavalry arrived, the bouquets and the other thing. But unfortunately, people have missed the point, and we had to prompt people. Understandably, they had no idea who they were dealing with. So I'll just let it be unsaid what I've said, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I would like to send my condolences as well, especially to Mr. Ken, because I think he worked closely with the icon. And may her soul rest in peace. And also the grandmother to O2 from her mother's side has passed away 2 days ago. So this means we have a second funeral next week from the same family. So yeah, I think it's God's harvest time, and there's nothing we can do about it. As much as it's painful to lose our loved ones, but I guess since there is a bad time, there will always be a death. We must expect it. Since we have birth, we're gonna have deaths. So it's painful to be separated from them, but I guess it is the way things will be. To go to heaven. That's how we visualize it. So God will not always give us what we want, but yeah. So what my last words to you, God will give you what you need at the right time, at the right moment. So just wait upon the Lord and find strength in the Lord. There's no one else who can give you strength except the Creator. And have faith, lift your head up, and never give up. Those are my last words for today. And see you same time, same place next week. And let's go and enjoy in the event on the 12th there in the museum. Let's go in numbers and share to our friends, to our pages. Let's hashtag fill up the Pama Museum. See you there.
Unfortunately, we have come. Thank you so much, Miss Classic, for those wise words. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of the show. I'm really, glad in a way that we can all express ourselves. Because I don't know. I think the show is taking the right direction. Because I know I a number of times I was in a point where I have trouble, but I don't know who to express my troubles with. I wish I could talk to somebody, and obviously my dad was away. I was back in South Africa. No one could understand me. The way I do things, the way I work, nobody could understand, and no one I could talk to. So having a platform like this where you can express yourself and take whatever that is inside your chest to the public, I think it's very healing. I think it's amazing. Anyways, my last words, I think I'll give everyone a chance to say their last words, if they want to. Just like Miss Classic said, death is something that we can never run away from. As we are sitting here in the panel, one day one of us won't be here, and we need to accept that. We need to tell our minds that this is the reality, and it has been happening for thousands and thousands of years. We can never change it. So all we need to do is to just prepare ourselves for it. Prepare for that pain that you can never run away from. You can never run away from losing a parent. You can never run away from losing, if it's a son or a colleague or a relative, but you can prepare yourself for this pain. So make your mindset understand that it's part of life, it's part of nature, so that when it happens, it was coming. So those are my words. Those are my final words. We talk about things, have fun, and do a lot of things here on earth, and then, which is very good, and then we tend to forget that there are things that no matter what we do, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much talented you are, no matter how much well-known you are, at the end of the day, you are walking on the same earth that we are walking on, and you are going to the same soil that we are going in. So we need to start getting used to that. It has been happening for thousands or millions of years. But as human beings, we are so smart. We need to be able to adapt to that, accept that, and prepare for it, and be strong enough to face it when it comes. When winter comes, how many times has winter came in your years? I'm like 30 something right now. How many
And
winters?
we don't have it.
Exactly. I don't have a jersey to prepare for winter. Each and every time winter comes, it's like, oh my God, it's winter. We are
You're
smart.
wearing clothes.
Yeah.
You're gonna wear clothes.
Yeah. So we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared. It's very hard. It's tough. But as human being, we are smart enough to create things, to create these moments, these movies that we play in our heads that we can't even share with the public, because it's unexplainable. It's so amazing. So there's a lot that we can do. Let's just prepare ourselves for what is coming, because if we are not prepared, it's going to hit us so hard. I'm just going to pass it over to whoever that wants to close. I think we're going to close with David Pyke today. I think we're going to close with David Pyke. People, please go for it. And Miss Classic, if you have something to say, please. You all have like a minute, and then David Pyke is going to close the show. Please, people, you go first.
Mr. Ludden, did you want to say something?
No, I'll take my minute when it comes.
I'll pass on my minute to you, and I will already say thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been a pleasure to have you here on the show with us, and we wouldn't be here with our viewers. So I'm going to see you next week.
Power.
Mr. Ken.
So I guess what I want to say to everybody, and I've said it to so many myself, is that the size of the cup it takes to hold the tears you shed is the sort of elevation of the trophy to the love you felt. So I need to find a trophy that can hold an ocean today. And we will see.
Class?
No, my last word, I want to salute God, because he's in a mission now. He's taking his good people, and he's taking all the cream people. So I can just only say, Jehovah is your name.
Hey.
Jehovah is your name. You are mighty warrior. You are great in battles. Jehovah is your name. See you next week. Same time, same place. And hashtag fill up the museum for the celebration of Global Sunday. Over to you, David.
Powerful.
Thank you, Miss Classic. I can hear the beautiful voice. And what's more important than the voice is what's the heart behind it. So thank you for that. Ken, you're going to have a hard week. You know that, and there's no way of taking the pain away. So yeah, you got to work through that one, and I'm with you with that, because I know the lady not as well as you, but yeah, that's big news. I apologise in advance. I'll be flying over the jungle again next Monday. My heart is with you all. It's just I have to do some things in another city. I'll be flying back for work. But it's been really wonderful. I think of the French phrase, qu'est-ce que c'est? What is it that it is? And I think that's what we think we know something. We think we know a person. They come on this show, and then when we start probing, we what is it that it is? Like there's so much underneath, and all the background people like William Bostick and Tembe the other week, and people that I've met, and even the panelists themselves. There's a lot that we can uncover, and a lot of nice things and informative things we can find out by talking to people. So again, apologies in advance, won't be there next week, but I know it'll be a great show, and congratulations, Lungani, on your 1 year anniversary. What a wonderful format you've created, and let it go forth in leaps and bounds, and goodbye for the Global Sunday.
Wonderful.
Happy birthday
to you. Oh, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, David Pyke, you gotta sing me a happy birthday, because you're not gonna be there on Sunday. So yeah, you gotta sing me a happy birthday. Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. 1 year old. Happy birthday to you. I wish I could sing like Mrs. Classic. Happy birthday, Global Sunday people, icons, and artists extraordinaires. Lungani, happy birthday to you. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hip hip.
Hooray!
I'll blow it out on your behalf. I've got good lung.
Wow.
He didn't make a wish.
It's here. It's here.
Yeah, you can't share it with
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. I'll see you next week. It has been an amazing show. Bye, Mr. Ludden. Bye, David Pyke. Miss Classic. Bye-bye. Bye, people.
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye. See you
You're in
next
my
week.
heart. You're strong.
Wonderful.
Yeah, happy. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo.
Yeah, happy anniversary. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo, Tandy Son, Shineli Green, Junior Mambaso, Tammy Jali, Selena Africa, Brazilian, and more. The MC will be Du from Inanda FM. Presented Max Shepard, Diverse TV. Let's celebrate our youth.
Yeah, happy anniversary. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo, Tandy Son, Shineli Green, Junior Mambaso, Tammy Jali, Selena Africa, Brazilian, and more. The MC will be Du from Inanda FM. Presented Max Shepard, Diverse TV. Let's celebrate our youth.
Yeah, happy anniversary. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo, Tandy Son, Shineli Green, Junior Mambaso, Tammy Jali, Selena Africa, Brazilian, and more. The MC will be Du from Inanda FM. Presented Max Shepard, Diverse TV. Let's celebrate our youth.
Yeah, happy anniversary. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo, Tandy Son, Shineli Green, Junior Mambaso, Tammy Jali, Selena Africa, Brazilian, and more. The MC will be Du from Inanda FM. Presented Max Shepard, Diverse TV. Let's celebrate our youth.
Yeah, happy anniversary. This is such a great platform.
The Global Sunday, first annual and Youth Month celebration. Live at Durban Museum. 12th of June 2021. 11 a.m. to late. Featured Gwala, Swift Pipo, Tandy Son, Shineli Green, Junior Mambaso, Tammy Jali, Selena Africa, Brazilian, and more. The MC will be Du from Inanda FM. Presented Max Shepard, Diverse TV. Let's celebrate